and we are recording. My my Zoom account has been migrated to the new SDCCD account group, to which everyone will be migrated on July 1st. And I noticed some different settings and so on that we still need to work on. One of those is the setting that requires us to have an audible prompt when a recording starts. So it's not collegial not to let everybody know they're being recorded. This session will be recorded, and it will be made available on our Open On Demand video tutorial site as soon as some old person gets around to putting it up there, which should be sometime over the weekend. And today's topic is one that has actually been requested a number of times. Engaging online students using PowerPoint in Zoom. It's a little bit different for us. We don't usually get into basic software training and things like that because that's handled by other entities at the district. But this is one that kept coming up, so I got my dean to allow me to do this basic. This is going to be a basic introduction to PowerPoint and creating PowerPoint presentations, which we've talked a lot in the past about how to present your PowerPoint during a Zoom meeting and how to record it and how to best make use of it and so on. But then we had folks come back and say, how about a refresher on how to create the things in the first place? Because we got to have one to present before we can do that. And I had to go back and study that myself before doing this. We'll see how well I did today. Of course, I recognize, I think everyone here, but just for the recording, I'm Dave Giberson. I'm an old instructional design coordinator from Online Learning Pathways who's come back out of retirement to help with these professional development sessions in this crazy environment we find ourselves in, where suddenly so many of our courses are online. So I am delighted to see you. Well, let's get started. We've found out something that those of us at Online Learning Pathways, and apparently a lot of people hadn't known until this week. We've been talking for some time about how the district is in the process of providing Microsoft Office 365, the new software as a service version of an online version of Microsoft Office, to faculty and staff. But we had been assuming that everyone was getting the full up version of Office 365, which includes the capability to download and install parts of the application on your local computer, giving you some extra capability. Of course, costing more money for the district as well. What we found out this week was that, in fact, non-contract faculty, adjunct faculty, are not getting the full version. They're getting the what basically is the free online version that anyone can have for the asking from Microsoft. So I'm going to be presenting today primarily using that free online version, which is quite capable. And it's marvelous that Microsoft has decided to make Microsoft a significant fraction of the capability, way more than half the capability of Microsoft Office, available online to anyone for free. So good on them. And I looked at my PowerPoint syllabus that I've used before. Just about everything that I talked about is available in the free online version. So I'm gonna demonstrate from there today, and then when we have a little time at the end, I'll drop back and show you a few things, because I know at least a number of you all are contract faculty and will be getting the full version if you haven't of Microsoft Office on 365 if you haven't already from the district. So let's get started with creating PowerPoint presentations. That'll be our first.
Key questions to
Dave?
slow down your thinking.
Yes, please.
Quick question. So
Yes.
my understanding was that to have that Office 365, we have to contact the dean, and the dean has to notify IT.
I believe that's correct.
Okay. Do you know how long
I've had
the
other
process
people
takes?
tell me that. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Any idea how long that's supposed to take?
I would say that would probably depend on the dean and the moment you catch them. But you can get started with the online version as long as you log in with your district ID,
Yeah.
district email, and then when you get the full version, all the work that you've done should still be available to you and so on. So,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm kind of out of that loop.
No problem.
So,
I would contact my dean or the dean's secretary or whoever's handling that as quickly as possible, because that's a significant value to you.
I also have my own personal copy that I purchased, and I also purchased like a lifetime license. How does that?
You're fine. You don't need the district, though. There's one thing that the district version has that even I was able to get as just because I still have an sdccd.edu email apparently, though I have no formal or full-time connection with the district anymore. I'm just a contractor, but I was able to get the 1 terabyte of OneDrive storage, Microsoft's web-based storage or cloud storage, which I'm very happy to have. I'd had to pay for that otherwise, but I only have access through the district to the free version of Microsoft Office, but I also have a locally installed permanent version of Office that I got many years ago when Microsoft was having a promotion and they were giving away licenses to Microsoft Office to educators. But that's been a long time since they've done that.
So the 1 terabyte OneDrive, that's part of the district's.
Yeah,
deal.
that's apparently part of the district's license, even for non-contract employees, because I've got it.
Okay, you just need an SDCCD email.
You just need that sdccd.edu email, and you need a Microsoft account that's associated with that email address,
Oh, okay.
which you probably already have. So, how do we get started with PowerPoint? Creating PowerPoint presentations. Well, if we're going to use the free online version of Microsoft Office, we just open up a web browser. Google Chrome is fine, but Microsoft Edge certainly would work on the PC, Safari on the Mac, Firefox on anything should work fine, shouldn't matter. And Microsoft, being Microsoft, got one of the earliest URLs or earliest domain names available on the internet, office.com. Okay, that to get that kind of basic, simple domain name is impossible these days. So we just type office.com in the address line of the web browser, press enter, and if you're already logged on to your Microsoft account and to office.com, your office.com pops right up. If you are not logged in, you'll be prompted to do so.
Hey, Dave.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you make your window bigger?
Are you in gallery mode?
Yes.
You want to go to speaker view. My bad. I should have mentioned that earlier. The
Thank
way
you.
I am presenting this, is I'm not using Zoom screen share for the most part. I am using
Ah,
a different technology. So you want to be in speaker view, and
thank
I
you.
need to spotlight myself for everyone. There, is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, good. Sorry about that. Thanks
Of
very
course.
much for bringing that up. Indeed, if at any time you're having trouble seeing or hearing anything, please let me know right away. There are things I can do to help with that if I know that they're needed. So please let me know. And if you have questions, jump in. Don't stand on ceremony. This is if I can't take a little distraction, I shouldn't be doing this anymore. One day that'll happen. Hopefully it hasn't. Hopefully that won't be today.
Mhm.
So let's keep going. Okay, so that and if you're not logged in, you'll be prompted to do so. And you may be asked if you're trying to use a work or a personal account. And if you are, tell it that you're using a work account, and that should get you access to the district resources, or the resources available through the online tier of Microsoft Office 365 provided by the San Diego Community College District. And that's what I have here. So this is the sort of thing you should see.
So Dave, let me ask them. So this is all cloud-based? I mean,
It's
when
all
we get it,
cloud-based.
okay, so when we get access to it, whether it's the full version, the free version, what have you, I mean, it's not something that downloads onto our computer.
Unless you want it to.
Okay.
See that right there?
Yeah. Okay.
If I try to do that, it's not going to let me do it.
Mhm.
But for you, once you get the full version, you can download and install parts of the applications. Word, Excel, Access. Actually, I don't know if you get Access or not. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, certainly.
Mhm.
And then you get extra capability.
Mhm.
So you'll want to do that.
All right.
But you can still use it on any computer, anywhere. You can use the online part of it.
Mhm.
And you can still, and if you've stored files online, you'll have access to those no matter what computer you're on.
Mhm.
So it's
That work also for like the tablets and
yeah,
iPads.
and you can access it from a tablet or a smartphone as well. And it actually has some pretty neat capabilities. Microsoft Office does now on smartphones and tablets. You can dictate your typing. You don't have to type on the tiny little keyboards on your smartphone and things like that. You can just have it do voice or speech recognition, and it will type out what you say, and it's phenomenally accurate. It won't miss very many words. You can, of course, do that on the full version of the Microsoft Office on your computer as well. But the free version of Office on your smartphone and your tablet has the speech recognition capability built into it, and they give you that for free. So, in many cases, it might be easier to at least do the basic construction of a document on your smartphone, sitting in your easy chair instead of sitting in front of your computer because of the speech recognition, which again is scary good. They've really come a long way with that. So, great. So, how do we get started with a PowerPoint presentation on Office.com? Well, you see your available applications that you have access to by virtue of the account provided by the district, and you see that you have Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneDrive, Teams, OneNote, all of those. So to start with PowerPoint, you just click the little PowerPoint symbol there, and it takes you to the opening screen for PowerPoint. You can see, if you've been working in PowerPoint, you can see presentations you've worked on recently. If not, you're ready to start a new presentation. just by clicking right here where it says New Blank Presentation. So there's just not that much to it. So I'll do that, he said. It's thinking about it. There we go. It is cloud software, so depending on the speed of your internet connection, occasionally there may be a slight delay before something happens, so don't panic about that. So here's the opening screen, the edit screen for PowerPoint. You have your usual Office ribbons here, which are your menus. It automatically goes to the home menu. You've got an insert ribbon, design ribbon we'll look at today, animation ribbon, slideshow when you want to actually present your presentation, and so on. You'll start out on the home ribbon, which has most of the basic tools in it. Spend a lot of time in that today. You have what's called a slide navigator over here on the left, which is where your little thumbnails of your slides will appear as you create them in the order that they will appear in the presentation. And you can rearrange slides over here. You can add new ones, delete ones you no longer need, things like that. And then you have your slide edit window here, which takes up most of the screen, which is where you will actually create your PowerPoint slides. Let me get myself out of the way here. We don't need me as big as that. So, we're ready to start. Maybe the first thing you might want to do in creating a new PowerPoint presentation is to select a so-called PowerPoint theme. I mean, we could just stick with the basic black on white here, black text on white, and it would work. It was kind of boring looking, not sexy. So to get a nice background for your slides, so it's a little bit more visually appealing, we can go to the design ribbon here and click on that, and we see a bunch of possible slide backgrounds, themes. And the themes include the backgrounds, the text font choices, the various colors that are available to you, and layout possibilities, things like that. There's a bunch of stuff in a PowerPoint theme. And Microsoft provides a number of those themes to you for free, even in the free version of Office that we're using right here, or the non-premium version. You see about the first 6 themes that are available, but to see all the ones that are available, you can click this little down caret here that's labeled More Themes, and those are the ones that are available for free. And that's a fair selection. And we can pick whatever one we want. And indeed, you can just try your way through them. You click one and see what it looks like. If you don't like that one, you can try another one. There's a classic. May take a second for it to come up, he said. There we go. This designer thing is a premium feature that they're trying to get you to buy, which gives you some ideas about possible slide layouts and images and things like that. But in our case, it's just aggravating. I'm going to have to keep closing it. I don't know if there's a way to shut that off or not, because I can't use it without paying money, or not for very long anyway. But I can just pick the theme I want. I think I'm going to try this one down here. I haven't used that recently. So, I have a theme. In the premium version of Microsoft Office, which some of you will have access to, you can download and add themes to this from many of them free online, some of them from Microsoft, but there are dozens of different websites that offer free Microsoft or free PowerPoint themes if you're looking for something really specific for your topic area. You can find all sorts of themes online, but you can't do that with the free online version of PowerPoint 365. And these themes are fine. I mean, it's not like you're really being limited in that regard. So we have a theme. How do we start creating content? Well, the themes are designed to make it easy. Here's a title slide. And to add the title of my presentation, I just click in that box and type. Or I can paste. I actually have a presentation that I'm going to be recreating here. I've got it on another screen. I don't want you to have to watch me type any significant amount of text. Those of you who have been in my sessions before know that my mama told me to take typing in high school, and like most high school students, I didn't listen to her. I took band instead. As a result, I never learned to type well. Who knew that these things were going to come along? You know, I was going to have a secretary. Yeah, right. Okay, so I'm just going to paste a title in. Well, that doesn't look great. Maybe I can reduce the size on that a little bit. If I highlight that text, I get a pop-up window that allows me to adjust the size. I could either adjust the size of the type, or if I like that size, I can expand this text box here. When I click on the text box, I see the little round handles at the corners and on the sides. And if I want this to be a little bigger, I can just mouse over that corner handle until I see the double-headed arrow, click and hold and drag that out, and now everything's on one line. So there's lots of ways to adjust. Indeed, when you put text on a PowerPoint slide, it has to be contained within what's called a text box. And the themes generally give you slide layouts with text boxes already created in them. We'll see at some point here today how to create it, or how to insert a text box on a slide. There's nothing to it. But usually you don't have to. Usually you can just pick a layout that you want. And I'll show you that here in a moment. And then we also have a subtitle box, which we can use or not as we prefer. Common use for a subtitle box is to indicate the author. And I'll be one of my alter egos here. Sorry, I dragged my there we go. Dragged my finger on the control key there. Bad habit, but it let me get away with it. When I was a youngin', I bore a frightening resemblance to Alfred E. Newman, the cover, the poster boy for Mad Magazine. So we'll go with that. Okay, so hey, I just created my first PowerPoint slide. Not much to it. All I had to do was type, or in this case, mostly paste content in there. And there's my title slide. Generally, you want a title slide at the beginning. You'll find that as you age, it helps you remember what the PowerPoint presentation is about before you go to present it to your students. Helpful. All right, now I'm going to go back to the home ribbon. And I'm going to get a new slide. That button is right there in the home ribbon. It's always handy. So this is how I make my next slide. Just click that, and I get a blank slide. And it has automatically a different layout than the title slide. The theme has that programmed into it. I got a title box at the top and then a content box into which I can paste, I can add text, I can paste images, or I can insert images, video, tables, all sorts of stuff. So I'm ready to go with my next slide. If I don't like this particular layout, on the home ribbon, and that's actually not on the home ribbon. Hold on. There it is. I have this screen enlarged to make it easier for you to see. And if I were to demagnify this a little bit, I can't do that here, you would see the word layout here. But as it is, I have to point at it to see that that is the layout menu. And here are the different layouts of content boxes and so on a PowerPoint slide that you can get. The default one for a new slide in this theme is the one with a title text box at the top and then a content box below it. But I could have one that had the title at the top and two content boxes side by side if I wanted a two-column layout. Or I can just have a slide title with just, or a slide with just the title box in it. Let me take that one. So I have this wide variety of layouts available here. So I'll select that one. And let's say the next title, or the title of my first slide, first content slide after the title slide, is Be Prepared. Because this is, in fact, a presentation about listening, about how to listen effectively. So, first bit of advice is be prepared. I can have the title, by default in this theme, the title is going to show as left justified. That's fairly common. I could also change the justification here, though, to center or even right if I wanted to. So I always have those text editing tools and justification tools available, just like in Word. It works a lot like Word in that regard. But all I have on this slide now is this title, and this title box. And obviously I want more information than that. I could have selected the layout that had the text box below the title box, but I'm doing this for a reason. I want to show you how to make a text box manually. There's nothing to it. I do have to go away from the home ribbon, though, to do that. The other ribbon that we're going to use, the other menu that we're going to use constantly in this demonstration, is the insert ribbon. That allows you to put all sorts of content into your slide or onto your slide. And one of the things, of course, that you can put onto your slide is a text box, which allows you to type text on the slide. You can't type text on the slide background in PowerPoint. You have to have a text box into which to type. So here, to get a text box, we go to the Insert ribbon and click on Text Box. And we get a little mini text box. We can expand that by just clicking and dragging the corners. It won't let me expand it downward yet until I start entering some information. You can move the text box around and put it wherever you like by just mousing over the edges of the text box and dragging it around. Try to get it centered. And you can tell when it's centered by the appearance of the little red line there as I was dragging. You see that vertical red line pop up? That tells me I've centered the thing. So it gives you some idea. It helps you lay this out cleanly. So now I'm ready to click and add text here. So PowerPoint slides, of course, typically consist of talking points. Ideally, in PowerPoint, you're not going to type out everything you're going to say on the slide and then just read from the slide. We've all attended PowerPoint presentations where that happened, where the presenter puts up a slide and proceeds to read everything on the slide, and then goes to the next slide and continues to do that. Of course, within 5 minutes, everybody in the room is looking at their phones or falling asleep or zoning out, practicing the seminar stare from graduate school. You remember that one, right? We had to sit in a seminar and your colleagues were presenting and you had to look, and the faculty was there, so you had to look interested. And you perfect that stare, that where your brain is completely turned off or is considering something entirely outside the bounds of the presentation that you're sitting in the room for, yet you appear to be attentive. You don't want that. So typically PowerPoint slides are just talking points, and you flesh out the talking points with your narration of the PowerPoint. So PowerPoint slides that are text heavy are bad design by it's slides like that gave rise to phrases like death by PowerPoint, a very popular description of the PowerPoint experience from the attendees' view. Or I think it was a major general, I can't remember his name now, who said PowerPoint makes us stupid. Well, PowerPoint is a wonderful tool, and it's really handy if it's used right, but it can be a painful experience for your attendees. So let's keep this brief. So typically, though certainly not exclusively, but more often than not, a PowerPoint slide is a series of bulleted talking points, which you will then flesh out and make it interesting so that the people you're presenting to are focused on you and not on the silly slide. And my first talking point here under Be Prepared is be mentally and physically ready to listen. But that looks like that's probably going to be kind of hard to see from the back of the room. If I go back to the home ribbon here, I see that this theme is by default putting in text as 18-point text. That's too small for the people in the back of the room. It's too small if you're presenting on Zoom. The standard minimum for PowerPoint bullets for the font size is 24 point. So I'm going to highlight that and change by clicking and dragging over it and change that to 24 point. And I forgot to bullet this as well. I'm going to use a little bullet. I'm going to make this a bulleted list, or I could do it a numbered list up here, but let's do a bulleted list. All right, so I got my bullet. Now I'm ready to go. As I add more bullets, all I have to do is go to the end of the first bullet and press enter. And it'll give me another bullet and now I can add my second bullet. And these talking points are getting a little close to being too wordy, but this is a sample PowerPoint I found on the web years ago that is pretty good for short PowerPoint demonstrating short PowerPoint presentations. So prep yourself by reading appropriate material and doing, okay. That's more or less a talking point. You can expand on that when you're presenting. And I can just keep adding bullet points by just keep hitting enter. I got one more here. This one's even a little bit longer. And the text box is automatically adjusting. And now those are probably big enough to, yeah, that's 24 point. You can, of course, adjust the typeface, the font, if you want to, with all the ones that are available in Office. There's tons of them. I like the Calibri is the default, and it's a good font for viewing on screen, especially. It's a so-called sans serif font. It doesn't have little serifs or curly cues at the ends of at the bottoms and the tops of the letters and things like that. It's very blocky, but very visible, very legible, and those are pretty good fonts to use, unless you're trying to make a point. And this slide, that's all the bullet points I have on this slide. I could probably either expand, increase the size of the type here, because I have some blank space down here at the bottom of the slide. That's not really a good idea. Or I can just put a line in between each of them by putting my edit cursor at the beginning of a bullet point and pressing enter. And that'll give me a little space in between them. That looks a little better. Here's this stupid designer coming up again, so it makes it even smaller. Okay, so there's a perfectly functional PowerPoint slide. Pardon? Oh, sounds like we have another a different visitor there. My dog will be in here in a minute. All right. So,
Dave?
yes, go ahead.
Quick question. Are you going to also, because I heard you briefly mention about, narration, how to add audio to PowerPoint?
Well, I'm going to show you how to add video, how to add media files or media
Okay, that's
to
fine.
PowerPoint. Absolutely.
All right. The reason I ask is that,
go ahead.
yeah, a lot of my online students, here's the irony. They sign up for asynchronous courses, but they kind of want to feel like, hey, I'm actually at City College. So,
Right.
I've heard that a lot of colleagues use voice narration in their PowerPoints to, make it more connection
When you
with
put
their
it
student.
into Canvas, rather than just providing the PowerPoint slides themselves, you provide narration.
Right.
So that when the student views the PowerPoint in Canvas, they get not just the basics or the talking points on the slides, but they also hear your narration of it.
Right. And you're saying that that's done through Canvas as opposed to PowerPoint?
Well, no, actually, you can do that through PowerPoint, but there are other ways you can do it.
Okay.
As well. And probably the best way I know to do it is through Zoom. Because Zoom will, of course, record screens, which I'm doing right now. Zoom is recording my presentation to you, some of which is on PowerPoint. It's recording my voice and the screens at the same time. And you can do that in Zoom. You can take your PowerPoint presentation, you can start a Zoom meeting, bring it up on the screen and share your Zoom screen, and then run through it, narrating it, going from slide to slide. And you can do this in a session where nobody else is in there with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're recording to the Zoom cloud, you just let the Zoom recording go up to the cloud when you finish your narration. And Zoom will send you an email when it's ready to share with your students. They'll even send you the link so that you can put that link into Canvas. And when the students click on that link, they see your slides and they hear your narration. And that's generally easier and more effective than doing it in PowerPoint, because it makes it easier to put it online for your students.
Thank you.
They can view it later. Great question. Great question.
Can I ask a question since Peter
You
asked that
certainly
one?
may.
So-
Anytime.
Thank you. Does it automatically, does the student have to click on it then to keep up or to follow along with the voice part, or does it time it? So it just goes,
It just times it by your narration.
okay.
It
awesome.
records you when you change a slide and start talking about the next slide. That's just in the recording.
Oh, that's great.
So they just sit there and watch it, and they get basically the same experience they would get if they were watching you do the PowerPoint presentation in the classroom, except that they can't stop you, in real time and ask questions about it. But there are lots of ways you can make it possible for them to ask questions asynchronously later on, and get those questions to you. But that makes a PowerPoint presentation that's placed into Canvas so much more valuable than just linking the slides, the slide deck in, because at least way more than half the information that's provided in a PowerPoint presentation is provided in your narration, not on the slide, especially if it's a well-designed PowerPoint presentation. So that's a great topic, and I think we'll have time for me to demonstrate that at the end. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
I'll be in class.
Thanks for the question.
Thank you, though.
Yes.
I'll catch it on the tape.
Sometimes I save my slide as a PPSM, and then it's like a movie where you can do that. And so
Right.
when I embed videos in there, it actually shows the video
Right.
on the fly.
You can do that through PowerPoint, indeed.
Yeah. So, and I know that there is,
But not through but I don't believe you can do that through the free
Oh, okay.
PowerPoint,
Probably.
which is why I'm looking for other ways for you, trying to provide other ways for you to accomplish that same thing, because that's what I'm doing. Again, that's what I'm doing right now. I've started up a Zoom meeting, and I am recording it, and everything that you see and hear live will be in the recording. And it just naturally happens in Zoom that way. You don't have to learn which menu options in PowerPoint to select or anything like that. It just happens naturally. And we're all so familiar with Zoom now that it's a very easy thing for us to do. So that's a very important point. Again, thanks, Pete. Okay, so we've made our second PowerPoint slide, and now it's pretty much going to be rinse and repeat. But I'm going to do a few more slides here to bring in some other types of content that we might put into a PowerPoint slide beyond just text, titles, and bullets, and different layouts as well. Again, to make my next slide, I just go back to the Home ribbon and click New Slide. And it uses whatever layout I used on the last slide. But this time I'm going to pick a different layout. Make sure I know where I am here. There we go. And this time I'm going to let, I don't have to illustrate this time how to create a text box, so I'm going to let PowerPoint create the text boxes I need for me. And I want to do a slide with a dual column layout on the content here, where I have a title text box at the top of the slide, and then below it two smaller content text boxes. And I can get that layout just by clicking on the layout button here and selecting that two content layout, they call it. bada bing. So I've got my title and two text boxes below it. The title on this slide is going to be, I apologize in advance, whoever produced this one was forthright in their speech. What's the best tip anybody can give you if you're trying to listen well? Don't have your lips flapped. Okay, so there's my title. I can put that in the center if I like. I'm a slave to centering things. I don't know. What's the old quote? Consistency is the hobgoblin of small minds. Well, that's me. All right, so shut up. But now I've got some bullet points I want to put in over here. I'm going to start with a bullet point. Notice it gave me a bullet point automatically, but I want this to be 24 point. That 18 point stuff, people in the back ain't going to be able to see that. 24 points about the minimum point text size you want on a PowerPoint slide. And I've gotten a lot more sensitive to that over the years as my eyesight has deteriorated. So for the folks in the back who have had both of their cataract operations, you want to keep this up to 24, your bullets up to 24 point at minimum. Okay, we're going to avoid me having to type this in. Does that really? Shoot. It's determined to make that 18. Well, I can force it. And here's my next one. Okay, those are still 24 point. There's some space there. I'm going to drop that down so it's all right. So, and those, notice, have automatically justified within the text box. So now I can go over here on the right and I can put in 2 more. This just breaks up the monotony of the visually of the slides. Makes it a little bit easier to pay attention. I'm just copying and pasting these. And again, I want that to be 24 point, honest to God. And maybe an extra space in between there. Whoops. I somehow got that. Oh, and it looks like the vertical arrangement here is not what I want. I can go to my little alignment tool here in the home ribbon and select top alignment. There we go. And if I want to line that up, I can juke these text boxes around a little bit so everything lines up nicely. All right. So, a different layout, same basic stuff, title, bullet points. Surely there's more we can do. Well, yeah. Let's make another slide.
I've got a question.
Good. Good.
All right. So where you have text box where shut up is up top, and then you have those 2 separate boxes there. Can
Right.
I have images there in 2 separate
Oh, yeah.
boxes as well?
We're going to talk about images.
Go over that later?
I'm going to, very next slide.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Good question. No, don't. You never know when I'm going to forget something. So if there's something you want to see, let me know. And if I've planned to do it anyway, great. If I haven't, I'll take care of it. And the best parts of these presentations are usually brought about by questions, like Pete's. So
Great.
excellent. Thank you. Okay, new slide. I just keep going. And again, it automatically gives me the layout I use last. That's not what I want here. I'll take the basic title and content layout on this one. Title box and a content box below it. And remember, I can always expand that content box to fill this, whatever portion of the slide I need to. Just by clicking and dragging on the bullets. Okay, so the next title is the focus factor. And I've got some bullets to go with that. I want the bullets to be 24-point bullets, but this one doesn't seem to want to accept that in advance until I actually get some text in there. Some themes will. Each theme is a little different. So let me get my bullets in there. Whoop. Okay, I somehow fat fingered that and got that bullet out of order. No problem. I have an undo button up here in the upper left, which is absolutely essential. Anytime you're designing anything in a piece of software, there's going to be an oops moment where you do something you didn't want to, and you want to go back to where you were before you did that last silly thing. You just click undo and undo again, and I'm back
How
to...
many undos are there?
As far as I know, it's unlimited. Back to the beginning when you first started working on the presentation. You can go back, I could go all the way back to the beginning of this session to where I had nothing in the PowerPoint. Seldom you'd want to do that, but if you notice something 4 or 5 actions after you messed up, you can go, if you want to, you can go all the way back and move forward again from there. Good question. All right, and now let's see here. Let's get that last bullet in there. There we go. But again, those are not nearly big enough. The text is not nearly big enough. I'm going to go 24 point. And this time, instead of instead of putting in extra lines here and so on, I'm just going to make these, compress these by compressing the text box. I'm going to go to the handle over here on the far right, the one in the center of the right-hand side of the rectangle. If I mouse over that handle, that little circle, I get a double-headed arrow. If I click with my mouse button and drag it down, I can bring that over. So I can reserve this part of the screen for something else. And PowerPoint, and I think I can still put in some extra. Oops, not what I meant to do. Undo, undo, undo. Okay, wanted to put the space there and there. PowerPoint slides that are nothing but text get really boring in a hurry. They're effective in keeping you on track and reminding you of what you want to, the topics you want to cover during your presentation, but they're not very much fun to look at. Slide after slide after slide with nothing but text. PowerPoint, of course, gives you the capability to add many other content elements, and especially notably, still images. Okay, so how do I add an image? Well, I go to the Insert button here, and I have an option to insert pictures that I have stored on my local hard drive. Still image files. PowerPoint will accept a wide variety of image file formats. You're always safe with JPEG or PNG, Program Network Graphics, a new good file format. Those two are very common, but it will accept others as well. the answer to whether PowerPoint will accept a particular image file that you happen to have on your hard drive is to
Do you
just
have
try
to
it and
shrink
see
it
what
down?
happens.
Do you have to? I'm sorry. Do you have to shrink it down, or could
No,
you?
no, PowerPoint will handle that for you. PowerPoint's smart enough to not make the image appear bigger than the slide. And as we'll see in a minute, once you get the image on the slide, you can adjust the size and position of the image as much as you like.
Okay.
So, but I need something that calls out the idea of focus here. And maybe I don't have that. Where am I going to find it? Well, Google. Google has an image search tool. If you go to the Google website, which most of us use as a default homepage, there's a little image button up here, or an image link in the upper right-hand corner. If you select that, you can now search for images on the web. And I want focus. That's my keyword on this slide. Here I get just a ton of focus pictures. Okay, so you get to pick the one that you like. What looks good? Oh, I used to teach archery. I'll take that one. Okay, if I find an image I like, I just click on it, and it gives me a bigger version of it. Now, to borrow that image, on a PC, I just right-click on the with the right mouse button. On a Mac, I can command-click and get the same thing. When I do that, I'll get a context menu. And in that context menu is an option to save the image to my local hard drive. Save image as. So I just click that, left mouse button. And I need to decide where to put this image. I have a pictures library, as you will as well. So I'm going to put it in there. And, this is an AVIF image, which is that's a... just a second. Let me tell you what I'm going to do. We got a little background noise there, a little feedback. I'm going to mute everybody, but I've given you the option to unmute yourselves. You just need to unmute to speak. You'll see the little red slash through your microphone icon in the lower left-hand corner of your Zoom screen. So I don't know if that AVIF image is going to work or not. I'll try it. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to rename it so that it's... I can find it again. And I'm going to call this focus. It looks like I already have a focus, a file named focus.jpg. So I'm just going to call this focus2 and save it. And now I can go back to my presentation. We'll see if that file will work in PowerPoint. I honestly don't know. Let's find out. We'll go to the Insert ribbon. We'll select Pictures from this device being your computer. And to search for that image in the Windows File Explorer, the easiest way is to just start typing the file name. Focus. There it is, focus2.avif, and open it. Shoot. That one ain't going to work. All right, got to go back to Google. That one, that's too bad. I like that one. Fine. We'll pick another one. I'll close this. Here's one I know will work. Rather than this one right here, if I click on that and right-click to save image as, this one's a JPEG. And it's named automatically. The default name is focus-2 JPEG, and it's fine. We'll use that. I'll save that. Now I'll go back to my presentation. And I will insert picture from this device. I'll start typing focus. You know, I could just scroll through and look for that file, but you can see why I don't want to do that on this computer. I've got hundreds of images in there. So go back. Focus to JPEG CR download. All right, I'm going to take that one, open. Oh, there was an extra. When I saved that file, I got something extra in the file name. Save image as focus to 1.jpg. All right. We'll put that in pictures, save it. Now we go back here, insert picture from this device, type focus. Now why is that adding that CR download to it? That's new. Okay, so what I gotta go back to do?
Why don't you just try copying it? It looks like you can copy and paste it in.
Because I probably want to keep a copy of it, so I can
Yeah,
reuse
I know,
it
but
later. But
keep
a reasonable
trying to-
suggestion. A reasonable. You could do that. But oh, it's giving me some kind of stuff about can't be downloaded securely. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to pull it up in the folder, and I'm going to rename it. And now it appears to have an appropriate name. Okay. I don't know why it was Windows suddenly decided to give me static on that. New stuff happens all the time. So let's try insert picture from this device again. Focus. And there's the JPEG one there. And I just open. And now I have the one I want. That was Windows fuss, not PowerPoint. I can mouse over that image. Obviously, I don't want it sitting there covering up part of my text. So I can mouse over that image and click when I see that four-headed arrow and move it wherever I like. I can make it bigger by grabbing the corner and dragging it out, or smaller as needed. And I can dress up my slide a little bit that way. And I can move this around. Now let's get this top. There we go. And maybe move this text box up a little bit. Just trying to get it a little more visually pleasing. So I can move any of the stuff on the slide around. Yes. So I can move any of this stuff around and get it looking the way I like it. I can make the text box bigger or smaller. I can make the text larger or smaller. And just make the slide generally visually appealing, or as appealing as I can make this topic.
Hey, Dave.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, is there a way to take the image? Because I remember seeing this where you can narrow the window without cutting it so that it only shows like the lens.
Yes, we could crop that, but I'm not sure you can do that in PowerPoint. Let's see. Good question. Does PowerPoint have a crop tool? It's called crop.
I remember seeing it in some of the, went by accident doing it, but it had to be in a certain mode and I could never figure out what was going on there. Yeah, that just squishes it, but there's
Right,
actually a
exactly.
way.
No, I'm trying. No, that won't do it. I'm trying different options here.
That's all right.
Keyboard options. Um, well, let's see. Crop image in PowerPoint. Remember, all the knowledge of the world is at your fingertips whenever you're on your computer. How to crop a picture in PowerPoint. Select the picture, click the Format tab on the ribbon, click the Crop button. Okay, we selected it. Format options. I right-clicked on the picture. Format options. No, doesn't look like I did the right thing. Let me go back to the... Click the Format tab on the ribbon. Oh, my bad. Okay, I've got the... Now,
It,
I'm looking for the Format button. Pictures... Home... Shapes. Nope. Looking for format. I'm not seeing it. That may be something that's not in the online version. I'm going to have to look for that, and I don't want to spend too much time right now.
fine.
But apparently,
Is it design?
pardon?
Is it design?
No,
Like when you click design and off to the right. Is that what you're looking for? Slide size and background?
No. That this would be the size of the entire slide canvas, and the background is the colors and so on in the slide. That's a reasonable suggestion, but that doesn't seem to be it.
Under editing.
Yeah.
No, I'm editing, which means I can make changes. But if I change that, I won't be able to make changes to the slide. So I'm going to have to look that up and see if that's in the.
Yeah, it's fine.
But a great question. There are other applications, of course, that I can drop this image into before I insert it into PowerPoint, and I can crop it there. Like, let's see. Photoshop, yeah, but boy, talk about killing gnats with nuclear weapons. I don't need anything as hard to use as Photoshop to do that. I have a little application called Snagit on my computer. This is Snagit, the Snagit editor. I can open this image file in, because that's a good question. I can open this image file in oh, that's the wrong pictures folder. There's that file. I can open that file in Snagit Editor. I can go to the crop tool, and I can do just what Fred's indicated. I can crop out portions of the thing just by moving the crop square here and then clicking crop and saving that image back to the same file. Now, if I take it out here, I can insert it again from this device. And now it's cropped.
Is Snagit free?
Snagit is not free, but it costs an educator a little under $40. It's a one-time cost, but there are free applications that will do that. That just happened to be something I had access to very quickly.
Oh,
But there are numerous free editors that would
that'd
do
be
the
good to
same
know
thing.
for my students. I have Photoshop, and I know how to use it. But
Right.
my students won't.
They won't know either one. They won't have either one. They won't have it. They may have what I call Photoshop
Any free version?
Elements or something like that. Yeah, which I think
Elements.
is, yeah, it's either free or very inexpensive. And there are free image editors or image manipulation tools. You can even do a little bit of this in the Pictures application in Windows, which comes with the operating system. But certainly the students would have access to something that would work. Yes.
I looked it up and I figured it out. You have to like right click on the image and then under format pictures, you go ahead and click on that. And then you should see a cropping tool. Unfortunately,
that you're using the
I'm using that advanced
version. Yeah, that's not in it. This is where I expected to find it.
Right.
So I suspected that this is a limitation of the online version of Office. But so you would have access to that.
Right. And under that format, there's a crop menu but you can only manipulate it using dimensions. You don't have. I don't see the options where you can just move things around like you did in Snagit.
You don't have the handles that you can crop.
Right. You have to measure things.
It'd probably be easier to do it in Snagit or something similar anyway before you insert it.
Well, sometimes I want to zoom in on a picture and still retain it, and then on another slide just show the whole thing. So like if you do a transition, maybe then that's a way where that tool is helpful, where you show the bigger picture and then you want to zoom in.
You just save the image twice. Once as the bigger picture and one as small.
Right.
Insert the different files into different slides. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, great discussion on that. And
are you perhaps thinking of like the snipping tool where you can take just like a small snippet of the image that you want?
The snipping tool is a free tool that has some of the capabilities of Snagit. Snagit is designed as a screenshot tool. And the snipping tool is a free screenshot tool that comes with Windows. And there's a comparable tool on the Mac as well. So, yeah, there are lots of free ways to do that. All right. So let's get another slide here. To get a new slide, I have to go back to the Home ribbon and click New Slide. And what shall we do this time? Well, this time I'm going to insert something other than beyond what we've done so far, just text and static images. I'll need a title for the slide. Every slide should have a title, certainly. And I'm going to call this Active Listening. And since that's... I misspell active? No? No, well. There's my slide title. Maybe I'll center that. And let's say I'd like to play a video during my PowerPoint presentation. You can embed videos in your PowerPoint slides. You do that from the Insert ribbon. And if we look through this and so on, we're going to see that one of the options here, oops, I missed Insert. One of the options here is online video. In the free version of Office, that's your only option for video, is a video that's already online. And it has to be online at one of a relatively small number of video hosting sites, typically on YouTube, though there are other hosting sites that you can insert video from here. If you have the the premium version of Office, you can also insert videos from files located on your local hard drive, local files that video files that you already have that perhaps you've created on your computer. But the free version doesn't have that option. And it's handy to insert online video anyway if what you need is online. I can just click that, and it tells me that these are the available hosting services I can use, or from which I can pull video. YouTube, SlideShare, which is a PowerPoint video.
I'm sorry, where did you click?
I did that by going to Insert and Online Video. Over
Okay.
there. Yeah. Oh, and I come to think of it, I have a little tool that will help with that. Over here. Yeah, that's easier to see, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
using a little tool called Annotate, which is a Chrome extension that was a few bucks. I forget. It wasn't very expensive. But it allows me to highlight things a little better. So, an online video. I need the share URL, the web link for the video. I can't get that from here, so I have to go to YouTube, perhaps. And search on there for active listening, since that's my... And, oh boy, just a few of them. All right. Oh, let's try this one. She looks animated. We'll see how that one goes. To get the share URL for this video, this YouTube video, I click on the video. And this one's going to come with an ad, apparently. That sucks. But I'll use it anyway. To get the link that I need to put it into PowerPoint, I go to the share button underneath the YouTube video window, and I just copy. Here's the app. Here's the URL for that video, unique URL for that video, the Uniform Resource Locator, the web link for it.
Don't need to use embed?
Pardon?
I
don't need to. I don't need the embed code. YouTube will take care of that. YouTube will generate an embed code for the slide automatically. So I just need the link, the basic URL. So I can copy that to my clipboard by clicking the copy button in YouTube here. And it tells me that's copied to my clipboard. And now I can go back to my...
I also asked about the embed. Is the embed only for when you use it in Canvas?
Yes, you can use the embed code in the Canvas Rich Content Editor.
But you don't need it for
But
PowerPoint.
But not in PowerPoint. You don't have to do that in PowerPoint. PowerPoint's automatically going to embed the video in the slide because it knows that's the only way it'll work. So now I just do online video and I paste that URL. Did I paste that? There it is. That's interesting. It wouldn't let me right click and paste that in there. Oh, there it did. I must have missed. All right, there I've pasted that video URL in, and it gives me a preview of the video to reassure me that I got the right one. And then I insert that. And there it is in the slide. I can make it bigger, though I have to be a little careful about changing the aspect ratio here. I don't want to do that, or I can make her really, boy, I can add 50 pounds to her right off the bat if I do that. So I want to be a little careful about changing the, I can move this around, put it where I like. If I'm very careful here, I think if I, let's see, yeah, if I want to make it bigger and I don't want to apply funhouse effects like funhouse mirrors to her and and add 50 pounds or make her look like she's, anorexic, I can resize the video using the corner handles, but in order to preserve the so-called aspect ratio of the image, which is the ratio of the width to the height, so that I don't get funhouse effects, I have to hold down the Shift key on the keyboard before I click and drag that. And now I can make this bigger, but maintain the aspect ratio. Or I can make it smaller if I want it to be less, take up less of the slide. Indeed, I probably do want to do that here because I want to put something underneath this in a minute. So and then I can move this around, and you have the usual visual cues when you get something centered above or underneath the heading and things like that. It gives you a little red line. So there I've got a video. And when I actually present this presentation, I'll be able to play that video right from within the PowerPoint slide. There's one potential drawback to inserting online video into a slide, and that's the question of whether when you go to present this and you go into a classroom or perhaps a meeting room in a hotel during a conference or something like that, are you going to have internet access? Because the online video will play, but it plays off the internet. It has to be connected to YouTube through the internet to play this video. I didn't actually download the video here and put it on my hard drive. YouTube won't let me do that. PowerPoint won't let me do that with a YouTube video. So in order to play this video when I'm presenting later, I have to have access to the internet. So that's a potential downside to inserting online video into your PowerPoint slides. If you have the premium version of Microsoft Office, you can insert a video that you have on your local hard drive into the slide. But it's important in that case to realize that that video file when you save your PowerPoint presentation, which we'll do here and we'll talk about here in a minute, when you save your PowerPoint presentation so you can put it on, say, a thumb drive and take it and plug it into the projector in your classroom, and you've linked a local video file into it, you've inserted a local video file into a PowerPoint slide, the video file is not included in your PowerPoint file. So you have to be careful to copy the video file onto your thumb drive along with the PowerPoint file if you're going to take it somewhere and present it on another computer. This is a good argument for when you're creating your PowerPoint presentations, create them on your laptop, if you have a laptop, and when you go to present somewhere, take your laptop with you and plug it into their projector, and then you're sure that it's going to run. And you don't have to worry about whether there's, if you insert a local video file into the PowerPoint slide, you don't have to worry about whether it's going to play if it's on the same computer that you originally created the PowerPoint presentation on. So there are some considerations you have to worry about, especially when you're inserting video into a PowerPoint slide. This is not true for still images. The still images actually are incorporated into the PowerPoint file and saved with it. But video is too big to do that with. The video files are too big to do that with. And the PowerPoint chooses not to do that. Okay, so we have a video here. I also found a website that's specialized in active listening. As a matter of fact, that's where this video happens to have come from, I think. originally. And maybe I'd like to provide a link in my PowerPoint slide to that website. That could be useful in two ways. One, if I'm presenting live, I can just click on the link and bring the website up, assuming I'm connected to the internet. I can bring the website right up and talk about it outside the PowerPoint presentation. If, on the other hand, I've put this PowerPoint presentation on Canvas, so for my students to view it later, if I put the link in the PowerPoint slide, they should be able to click on the link and go to the website and get more information about active listening. So where was that? Well, I think I just Googled active listening again. And it was this one, the Mind Tools site. Click on that. And here's a whole website on active listening. There's that video. So just all sorts of useful information here that I can add into my PowerPoint presentation, or at least give access to through my PowerPoint presentation, by just taking the access URL here, which is always in my location line, top of my browser. I can just copy that to my clipboard, go back to my presentation, and now I can insert a link to that website within my PowerPoint slide. I'll first need to insert a text box. We've seen how to do that. Insert text box. Now I don't think that took, did it? Insert text.
In the middle.
There we go. And text box. And what am I doing wrong here?
It's in the middle of your screen.
Oh, it is. Thank you. I did it 3 times. Wasn't looking up there for it. I can take, yeah, all right, take, now I got it down there. There's my text box. And I'll just call this active listening website. I could be more imaginative or original if I weren't trying to think of 15 things at once right now. So I'm just going to say active listening website. And then I'm going to maybe make that a little bigger, go back home, go to that 24-point minimum. I may have to stretch my text box a little bit to get that on one line. That'll do. But that's just text. That's not a link. To insert a hyperlink into this, remember I have that the URL, the web link for this on my clipboard. I just copied that. I can just highlight that text and I can go to the insert ribbon and I can select link right there. Those little chain links, interwoven chain links, are indicate a hyperlink, a web link. I click on that. I've got the display text that's going to serve as the so-called anchor for my link. The students have to have something to click on, right? That gives them something to click on. And now I can paste that web address into this box. It's not letting me do it with a right click, but I can always, what's the keyboard shortcut for paste universally on a PC?
Command V.
Command V, or Command V on a Mac. On a PC, it's Control V.
Control V, yeah.
Yeah. So, but good point. It's different on the Mac. And there's the link. I click Insert. Now that changes color to let me know something happened and let me know that that is in fact a link. Okay. And we'll see how that
Can you-
operates here in a
can you
minute
change
when
the
we
color?
actually run the presentation. Yes.
Can you change the color of that?
Actually, not that. Actually, you can change the color of that. You may not want to, though, because that color means something. Notice it's kind of purple here. That's an indication that you have already visited that website. Otherwise, it would be a more of a blue. But yes, I could change the color of that text.
I'm just thinking about people who can't see real well.
Yeah, you could make it higher contrast. That's a good point. By highlighting the text and going to the home ribbon and going to text color here, font color, and selecting something like maybe white. And note that didn't still, that the link color is overriding that. That's interesting. No, it's not going to let me do that in this case. Curious. Yeah, because that color means something. So
Fair enough.
sorry. Good question. I would have thought it would have been possible. I can certainly change, for instance, the color on the title if I want to by going to my home ribbon to the text color, font color button here, and change that to red maybe. But I apparently can't do it with the link anchor. All right, I just learned something. So, I could keep adding slides here, and this obviously we haven't run through all the possible things you can put into a PowerPoint slide, but I would say probably that's 90% of the stuff you'd ever put into a PowerPoint slide in most cases, unless you're doing something really unusual. That's almost everything I use when I create PowerPoint presentations for my professional development sessions. That's just about everything that I use. And it allows you to produce a nice, visually interesting, effective, functional PowerPoint presentation just with what we've covered so far. So, let's see where I am in my outline here. What have I got?
Teresa has a
20,
question.
I got 20 minutes left. A couple other things I'd like to show you. Everybody's seen PowerPoint
Teresa has a
present.
question.
Oh, question. Yes, absolutely. Teresa.
Hi. This is a great refresher. Dave, maybe you already talked about this, but how do I become you? Example, in you doing the PowerPoint and having my image where folks can see me talking.
Oh, down here in the lower right.
Yes. How did you do that?
That is done using a piece of video software called Open Broadcaster Studio.
Open
Broadcaster Studio. OBS is what you search for. OBS is a tremendous video tool that you can use with Zoom, as I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
It's not part of PowerPoint, though. And I can actually, I do sessions where I show you everything you really need to know about OBS in 2 hours.
Okay.
And I have it all online.
Great.
And
I'll go
remind
to
me in
that.
a minute, and I'll show you where it is. Okay.
Great.
Right
Thank you.
right now I'm running a little tight, and I got to get. And we've had a lot of great questions, which I love. But there's a couple more things I want to cover before we
Great.
on PowerPoint before we finish. But great question.
Thank you.
You bet. But again, that's not anything. You can't do that with just PowerPoint. Okay, so you've seen PowerPoint presentations where the bullets on the slide didn't just appear. The presenter brought them in one at a time so people weren't reading ahead and thinking about something else. That's a useful technique to keep people on thinking about what you're talking about. So how do we do that in a slide? Well, it's really simple. I've got this slide with 3 bullets here. What if I would like to have those bullets appear one after another when I present. All I have to do is highlight the first bullet and go to the animations ribbon. And there are several types of animations that you can use. Quite a few of them, as a matter of fact. And they give them all to you in the free version. I'm not sure why. But the one that I like, and the one that's generally the least distracting, is the fade, where it just kind of comes in, or comes up slowly from nothing. I'm going to use a fade here. And I just highlight each of the buttons in turn and click fade while I'm in the animation ribbon. Oh, let's try one of the wilder ones. Oh, we'll use the fly in on that one. Okay. Oops. Did I get that? Oh, come on. It's doing the entire text box. Why would it be doing that? Let's back out of this. Okay. Go to animations again. By paragraph, that's what I want. And I'm going to do fade. So what I did was go to options and select by paragraph. That's a little different from the way it's handled in the premium version, which I think is a little better. But by paragraphs, a paragraph is anything that follows a carriage return in the slide. So now we'll see what that looks like when we go to actually presenting this. And let's go do that. So let's say we've got the PowerPoint presentation ready to go. And we've put it on a thumb drive, or we have it on our laptop. We've gone to wherever we want to actually present this. Or perhaps we're going to present this during a Zoom meeting, as I'm doing here. How do I actually present this so that the PowerPoint slide is full screen? You don't have all this distracting edit stuff around it, and any of these effects like the video and the link and the animations and so on will actually be seen. Well, it's pretty obvious in the particularly if I shrink this just a little bit. No, I can't do that. What I have to do there is change the display setting here. This has nothing to do with PowerPoint, not to worry. Okay, I just shrank up the entire, or zoomed out a little bit on that. To present this slideshow, I have a slideshow ribbon here. I also have a little present button over here, which I can use as well as a shortcut. But I get more options if I go to the slideshow ribbon here. And specifically, I get options in the free version to either start from the first slide, the beginning of the presentation, or pick up from the current slide that I'm looking at in the edit mode here. And I can navigate back and forth between my different slides and the slide navigator here on the left by just clicking on the slide I want to pull up at any moment. But let's say I want to start at the beginning. All I do is just click from beginning. And now I'm presenting in presenter mode. To advance my PowerPoint slides, I have several options. The classic one is just to click with the mouse button. And I'll go to the next slide. But remember, I set up animations on this slide for the bullets so that the bullets don't appear in order to bring the first bullet in, I have to click again, and the bullet fades in. I can also use, if you prefer the keyboard, I can use the down arrow on the keyboard to move forward in the presentation. And the advantage to that is if I suddenly decide, whoops, I forgot to adequately deal with the first bullet, I can go back with the up arrow. And I can go back a bullet or a slide at a time using the up and down arrows on the keyboard. So you have a little bit more fine control over what you're doing. But in this case, I can talk about each bullet in turn, and people aren't thinking about the next bullet before I get done with the first one. So this is actually a useful technique. It's not just visual interest. And I think I did a fly in on the third one. Nope, I must have done a fade on that. Yeah. Okay, so now I can keep moving forward. I didn't set up my animations on this slide, so it just shows everything at once. That's a perfectly reasonable option. And when I finish talking about that slide, I can go to the next one that has the nice graphic on it. Notice how much bigger and clearer everything is in presentation mode, so your students are seeing this. And I'm recording myself doing this in Zoom, right? So later I can pull this back up and people can see my presentation and hear my narration and so on, and answer to Pete's question earlier. And here's the slide with the video on it. Okay, I can play the video.
Interesting that active listener website turned into white.
Think about how much information you...
Pardon? Oh yeah, it did turn to white, didn't it? That's interesting. Maybe that worked and we didn't know it. Okay, but I can play that video. I can play any part of that video I like. I can jump ahead in it. I can back up and play things again and so on. All the usual stuff you can do. And this video is closed captioned. So I can activate those so that
Your boss, your colleagues, your clients, and your suppliers may communicate with you often. So will your family.
So it's legal to use in a class. If you were doing this with a live class and you have a hearing impaired student, or even if you don't, maybe you have a student whose first language is not English, it'll help if you turn on the captions. So you can turn that on. And if you want to go to and talk with them about the active listening website, you can just click right here, and there's your active listening website, and you can show that. And when you're done, you just minimize that, and whoops, and you go right back. I'm sorry. What you'll do is jump back to your presentation tab. Excuse me, forget which version I'm in, and you're right back in your PowerPoint. You can continue. And that gives them a break from the PowerPoint slides. So that's how you present. And then when you get to the end, of course, it turns black. It says slideshow's over, and you just click again and you go back to the edit mode. So
Dave?
Yes, please.
Did you say that that using a YouTube video is free? I mean, not free, legal.
Legal, absolutely.
Oh.
Certainly. You will probably want to turn on the captions just to be sure that there's not somebody who needs them and they didn't tell you. But yeah, YouTube, there's no copyright issues with YouTube. YouTube deals with that. If it's free and available, if you can view it for free on YouTube, you can use it in your PowerPoint presentation. Okay, let's see where I am here in my outline. Transitions, animations, presenter. Okay, so that's pretty much everything there is to that. And if you do this in a Zoom meeting, as I've been doing, you can share it with your students at home. Typically, you would probably be sharing your computer screen when you did that, using Zoom. let me do that. We'll share that.
Dave,
Yes, please.
is it possible? I'm sure it is, but can you share with us, for instance, the end of your PowerPoint presentation? Is there like some fancy, starburst or something?
You could put in a PowerPoint slide,
Okay.
a terminal slide,
Yes.
and there are animations
Okay.
PowerPoint that you could put in there. Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Great.
that would take a little more time than we have left right now to show you that, but yes, you could do something like that.
Okay.
Or you could just utilize a little animation video that you had found online or that you created, and you could embed that in the PowerPoint slide in the same way that I embedded this little active listening video here.
Yes.
And you could have that be the last slide.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet. That is a way to do that comes to mind right offhand anyway. So,
I have two questions.
good.
One of them is I got here a little late because I was in the garden.
Oh.
I would like to know, I missed the first part of how you even got into this presentation with PowerPoint.
How I got into
something I
PowerPoint initially. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Nothing
should
wrong,
I just look at the...
nothing
yeah,
wrong
okay.
with recapping that. Before I leave, though, I want to make sure this presentation is saved, right? I just did all this work. I don't want to lose this. Well, that's one of the benefits of the free online version of PowerPoint 365 is that it saves this presentation automatically to your OneDrive, which is the cloud storage associated with Microsoft's cloud storage that you get for free, a certain amount for free, along with the free Office 365. And as I made changes to these slides as we went through, everything was automatically saved instantly. That's not true with the premium version. You have to, if you're saving with the premium version, you're saving the PowerPoint presentation to your local hard drive. It only saves it when you tell it to. So if you go through and create 4 or 5 slides and you're working away and suddenly the power goes off, you are, what's the word I'm looking for? In trouble. You just lost a lot of work. That won't happen online. This has been saved all along to my OneDrive. Right now it's being called Presentation 1. I need to change that. I'm going to call this Listening. It gives it an automated a default name. So we'll call this Listening Presentation. There's me having to type again. Leaving out a T. Listening presentation, and this is May the 6th, 2022. I can't have slashes in a file name, so I got to put it in there. Okay, and I'll press enter, and now it's saved on my OneDrive as Listening Presentation 5/6/2022.
Did it get saved according to your own personal Canvas account that connects with it?
Oh, well, my personal OneDrive, my personal Microsoft account.
I mean, like if I was doing one,
right.
it would go straight to my account.
Straight to your OneDrive, yeah. And that's automatic. You don't have to do anything to make that happen. You do have to give it a name that you'll find again. Otherwise, it'll be saved as Presentation 1. Or Presentation 2 or Presentation 3, depending on how many presentations you have created lately. But obviously, you want it to have a name that you'll recognize so you can find it again later without having to open all the files that say just Presentation. But that's all there is to saving this on the online version. to see how we got into this to start with, since I've got this saved, I'm just going to close that tab. Boom. It's gone. Now, to get back to it, I just bring up a new web browser window. I'm using Chrome, but you can use any web browser with this. Probably prefer that you used Edge on the PC because that's a Microsoft product. So I just go to the address line on my browser here and type office.com, which is the Microsoft Office 365 site. Press enter. And since I'm already logged into my Microsoft account, which you probably are if you're on a PC, you might be if you're on your Mac.
I am.
It just brings up your free office.com, your free Microsoft Office. And here are your applications. This is all cloud-based. There's nothing, you don't have to install anything on your computer to use this, except the web browser. And that comes with it. And you want to start a new PowerPoint, you just click on PowerPoint here on the side. You say New Presentation, and you're off to the process.
To the races.
Yeah. Be a little different if you have the premium version. You'd probably run that off your an icon on your desktop on your computer. But if you have the premium version of Office 365, you have the option of saving to OneDrive, which I think will be what it wants to do, or you can save it to your local hard drive. You don't have that option with the free online version. You have to save to OneDrive. What you can do, however, is you can go to OneDrive by just clicking this little down caret here next to where it says Save to OneDrive. This is one way to access your OneDrive. I'm doing it this way because I have multiple OneDrive accounts and I'm not sure which one. And let's see, now I need to find that listening presentation. This is it right here. And if I want a local copy of that on my hard drive, if I don't trust Microsoft, I've been at this a long time, I certainly don't trust Microsoft, though I've never known Microsoft to lose anything in OneDrive, okay? But just, maybe I want to do something else with this later. I can right-click or command-click on a Mac and download this presentation to my local hard drive. I have to tell it where to save it. And it's going to save as a PowerPoint presentation file, a so-called PPTX file here. And with the same name that it had on OneDrive. And I just saved that. And now I have a copy of that on my local hard drive. So the free online version of PowerPoint or Word or Excel is very capable. But it'd certainly be nice to have the premium version as well. But if you're not, but the district is apparently only going to provide that to contract faculty and staff. And as Pete mentioned earlier, you have to ask your dean to get included in that. I think it's available for the asking, but we just found out this week that they were not going to provide that premium version to non-contract faculty.
I know, and it's really annoying. That's why I had to just go and purchase mine because I have to log on every single time if I want to make a change or anything.
Exactly. I can't take a position on that.
Yeah, I can.
Read my body language. Okay.
Where's the equity?
Yeah.
There's student equity, but where's the professor equity?
Yeah,
And you're taping.
I'm about to get myself in trouble. Hold on, just a second. Okay, so now let's have some more questions.
Well, I did have another question.
Good.
When you put your images like I'm more into images than any of these written things.
Right.
But every time you put in another frame and another frame, can I just put in an image instead of the?
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not using the right
absolutely. Good question. Let's pull this presentation up again here. All I have to do is click on it, and boom, it's in my editor again. I'm ready to play with it. Let's add another slide. Takes it a second to update. There we go. Let's add a new slide.
I mean, the full frame could be a picture rather than.
Oh, yeah, indeed. You can just ignore this stuff here.
Yeah.
Because none of this is going to show up when you're presenting. If I go to present or go to slideshow and from current slide, that slide's blank. Those text box lines and the click to enter text here and so on don't show up. They're in the presentation. So I can just, if I want to just have this whole thing be a picture,
go ahead.
I can insert picture from, I'll just pick something off my computer here. And I can pull in images from my computer and put them into this presentation, even in the free version. And, oh, here's a picture I can use. I'll select that, click open. I can make this be the entire, if the picture has the right aspect ratio, I can just fill the entire slide with it. And if I'm willing to stretch it out a little bit, I can do that. And there's a slide that's nothing but an image.
Okay.
And I can have a base image, and I can add another image on top of that.
All right.
So I can layer images over images. I don't have to have any text boxes or anything like that in there at all.
So now if I wanted to take that hand, one of those hands out, or change the color of the hand, is there a way to use the graphics to create shapes or transparencies or?
PowerPoint has a very limited graphics editor built into it, but it's not apparently available in the free version here.
Oh, and you have to use the premium?
Yeah. Let's see what this would look like in the premium version. Since I downloaded that file, I can open it up in my premium version that I got years ago. Directly from Microsoft, not from the district. Let me run that here. Let's see, where's that going to come up? Looks a lot like the other one. I'm going to open a PowerPoint presentation. Here's the one that I just downloaded. This is the one we've been working on in the online version. Okay. Since it knows I downloaded this from the internet, so it's trying to protect me. Oh, what if there's a virus on that website or something? Well, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to enable content. So, and do you want to make this file a trusted document? Yes. So I won't get that stuff. Excuse me. Again. And so here's what it looks like in the premium version. Now let's see what I can do with this in the premium version. Let's see. Picture format. There we go. Now I have a picture format window. Color. I can change the background color.
Yeah.
That's not what you were talking. You were talking about actually editing a portion of this.
Yeah, like creating a shape and putting it on top of.
Not sure it has that.
I don't know if any of the other people are interested in this part of it.
Well, no, you got to ask the question. This is question and answer time, and you'd be surprised.
Yeah, we learn a lot by the questions people ask because you wouldn't think to ask.
Exactly, because Um, I don't think that the capability in this very limited graphics editor will allow you to do something like that. To do something like that, you're talking about needing a program with the capabilities of something approaching Photoshop. Or if you want a free version of Photoshop, or of a Photoshop-like application, there's something called GIMP, G-I-M-P,
Uh-huh.
that would allow you to do something like that. So I'm afraid you'd have to do that outside of PowerPoint, and then load the edited image into PowerPoint.
It sounds like an offensive word.
Yes, it stands for graphics something something something. It's not meant to be a derogatory term for someone with a physical disability, but it comes across that way. You're right.
Hey, Dave,
Yes,
are we done with this question?
I think
Looks like
we
it.
finished with that. Yes, go for it, Fred.
Sometimes I bring in Excel files to my PowerPoint.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I like to do some manipulation with it on the fly.
Right.
So I was wondering, since they're both Microsoft, can I do that, or do I have to like exit PowerPoint and go to my Excel file?
In that event, you want to, and this again would require the paid version.
Right.
But this is an object, I believe. Insert object, which wasn't in the free version. If I click that, it gives me an option of all sorts of different kind of files. And I have a Microsoft Excel worksheet.
Yeah.
I want to get the right version. Microsoft Excel worksheet right there. And I'm gonna OK, and that will actually allow me to create a spreadsheet here. That's a disagreement Microsoft and I are having. I think it's trying to tell me, okay, your free ride on Microsoft Office may be coming to an end. I'll see. They've said that before and never gone through with it. But this is a live spreadsheet. I can.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, or I can do this from a file, an existing file. App. I can insert object from file, and I can browse for an Excel file. My documents folder. Looking for an Excel spreadsheet I'm willing to share. Here's some research I was doing on lawn tractors. That's not confidential. And OK. And there's that spreadsheet, which I can move around.
And it's just not an image. You can actually.
No, I can actually.
Okay.
Edit it. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Cool. No, that's something that I think everybody might be interested in. So there's all sorts of different kinds of content you can insert into a PowerPoint.
Dave?
Yes.
I was like the first hour of that. I was also at another meeting, so I'm only half listening. It's amazing that your example was about listening.
All right.
But I thought I learned something new where you said something about focus? Like that was a place where you can get images?
Oh no, I needed an image about focus,
Oh,
so I went to Google. And there's an images search in Google.
oh,
It's I've reduced. Let me blow this up a little bit. There you go. An images link in the upper right hand corner on the Google homepage.
okay.
And now you're in Google Images search. See where it says images right there? This
Yeah.
is not the standard Google. This is going to search images. And if you want an image about the, say, of the Grand Canyon, or just about anything else you can imagine, and probably more than a few things you can't imagine or wouldn't want to imagine, you can find it on Google. And of course, it'll help if Google even knows that I meant Grand Canyon and not Garned Canyon. So I can search for the Grand. There's every, gazillion images on the Grand Canyon. If you find one you like, you just right click on it and save image as,
Okay.
or command click on a Mac. Save image as, and save that to my pictures library. I'll call it Grand Canyon. Now I have a copy of that.
Thank
I can
you.
insert it into a PowerPoint slide.
Yeah, I thought there's like a special image place with so it's like what we used to have for free. There's all kinds of images through Microsoft.
Or you can find free images online through Microsoft as well. You can find images, Be a little careful though, going to any free image websites
Yeah.
on the web. They
You
are
went up on Pornhub?
notorious. They're notorious for distributing malware.
Yeah.
You could end up with something on your computer that you didn't want. So I'm a little leery about that. I like to go to the Google search, and that filters out most of that stuff. Okay. Great questions. How about some more?
Hi, Dave. This is Lena.
Lena, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I learned a lot this morning, but I think I was writing some notes, but I left out the part when you wanted to do animation on the font.
On the bullets?
Yeah, the bullets. Yeah, I was like writing. I missed something right there.
Yeah, well, it's a little different in the paid and the free versions, and I got a little, I had to try something twice before getting it to work.
Oh, I see.
Here we are back at the our presentation, and this is the online version of PowerPoint. And let's say I wanted to animate these bullets. How do I do that? Okay, I go to the animations tab, or the ribbon here. And I highlight something I want to animate, like this bullet. I just click and drag and highlight it. And now I can select my animation that I want to do, like a fade. I like fades. Oh, we'll do a grow and turn this time, just for the heck of it. Unfortunately, by default, the online version assumes you want to animate the entire text box. So what that's going to look like when you do slideshow from current slide is that when I click here, it brings in both bullets.
Oh.
I really only want it to do one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So if I jump out of that by pressing escape and go back here and highlight that and go to the animations, under options, I can set this to not as one object or all at once, but by paragraph.
Oh,
And paragraph means anything that's ends with a carriage return, with an enter. And that would include these bullets. So if I select by paragraph, now when I do the slideshow from this slide, I bring in the bullets one at a time. And if I wanted to animate the ones on the other side, I would just go to animations, highlight that, select whatever I did. And notice it's a dead giveaway. It only gives me the one little square here with a 3 in it. It's going to animate this whole thing at once. Once I create that animation, I can select the option to do it by paragraph. And now I'm going to have what I want here. If I go to slideshow from current slide, now I'm going to bring those bullets in one at a time. Okay.
I am so glad you mentioned that because I had a problem. I was demonstrating to students, and I have Windows 11 with my newer computer, and it was doing the whole thing at the same time. And then I saw that's a new thing with the paragraph and all that, because before you just highlight it. But it's also, I guess it was because it was my free account that was doing that.
Right.
Okay.
I just ran into that when I was prepping today to do to present using the free version, because normally I use the premium version that I've had for years. But after finding out that, lots of people at the district, particularly faculty who are very important to us, are not getting the premium version, I figured we better know how to use the free version.
So if I'm paying, that is a premium version.
Yes.
I haven't tried it
If
lately.
you're paying for it personally, it's a premium version.
Okay. So I can go back and redo that part.
You can use that, yeah. But
thank you.
But if an adjunct faculty member who had not bought their own Microsoft Office and was depending on the district to provide it to them, would be limited to the cape. But as you see, the online version, the free online version, is extremely capable. It lacks some of the bells and whistles, but quite frankly, Microsoft Office applications have so many bells and whistles that sometimes they're just bewildering. In some ways, I found it easier and quicker to set up a basic PowerPoint presentation in the free online version of PowerPoint than I did in the premium fully featured version of PowerPoint 365. So I like this interface in many ways. It has everything I use normally, almost everything I use normally in creating PowerPoint presentations, and it's more streamlined. There's not a lot of options that I don't use and don't need.
Also, Dave, one more time, sorry to interrupt about that, but if I wanted all of them to fade in or do the different animation, can I do it like all of it? I have to highlight everything, all the fonts.
Well, no, if I, let's go to, I think I've got one more set of bullets here we can animate. If I go to animations and I just highlight one of the bullets and do like fade, it's automatically going to animate the entire contents of this text box. So when I go to slideshow and from this slide, if I click, all of them come in at one time.
Oh, yes.
If I don't want that to happen, I have to go back to animation again and highlight this, and under options, select by paragraph.
Let's see. I was just wondering about the whole entire presentation.
Oh, you're talking about going from one slide to another?
Yes.
Oh, that's called a transition. That's something I didn't cover, but that is available here. Let's say I want this slide to fade in, or use some other kind of... if I select the slide in question, I can go to transitions, not animations, but transitions. And I have a lot of the same things. I wonder what origami is. Let's try the origami transition. Let's see what that looks like. Now, if I start my slideshow from the beginning. There's my opening slide. But now when I go to my second slide, either by clicking with my mouse button or hitting the down arrow on the keyboard, okay. Knock yourself out.
Curtains? Dave, is it
Yes.
transition that has that curtain that's something new?
Excuse me?
Is the one that where you have curtains that go is that a transition? Is that
Yeah,
one of the
that's a
new ones?
transition. Yeah. Let's see what that one looks like. I can change the transition. Let's see. Here's drape.
Maybe it is drape. No. Blind. No.
Blinds. I think that's it. Doors, box.
No, it opens like a drapes, like a like you just open the drapes. Maybe it is drapes. I said curtains.
Oh, curtains. There it is.
Oh, it is curtains. Yeah, curtains did. It is
Try that
curtains.
one. Okay. Now we'll go to slideshow from beginning.
Yeah, that's it.
You've seen that one, huh? Okay.
I've seen someone used it and I thought, where is that? That's new.
That's where that is.
Okay.
Now that's been in there a while. That particular curtain transition may be new. I don't know because I don't know. I usually don't use transitions between slides other than fades because they tend to be more distracting than anything else.
But as an opening, attention getter.
For 5 minutes, people are thinking about those curtains sliding apart and ignoring whatever I'm saying on the next slide. But
I thought it would be interesting when teaching attention getters to use the drapes opening.
yeah, that certainly caught my attention.
Thank you so much, Dave. Have a nice weekend, and
Did
I'll
I
see you next time.
Did we get all your questions?
Yes, thank you. I learned so much. It was really, just a lot of different detail that sometimes we overlook. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much, Dave. Have a nice weekend.
You too.
Everyone there.
Thanks for coming, all of you. All righty. Have a great weekend.